Perfect. So people are starting to join us. You do see the menu bar right on top of your screen, or
Yes, I do. I just have to click to see it.
Mm.
Oh, we already have 29 participants.
Yes.
30.
I guess we'll give people like, a couple of minutes past 10. Okay. So 12:30 now, so a couple more minutes.
Sure.
We have a hello from Ramsey.
Hello.
You see in the chat?
I don't. Oh, I have to go to chats. I didn't see the hello. Oh, wait. Had chats. Where do I see? I see Q. I don't even see where it says. Oh. I see it. Okay.
So you're getting all the hellos from Adam. Hello, Adam. Hello, Ramsey. Hello, Sassy. Hello, Anna.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. Hello. Hello, Adam. Hello, Sassy. Hello, Rama. Hello, Anna. Okay, I see it. Okay, great. I'm new to this webinar platform.
Format. Yeah, no, it works great. Right?
I love it. Yes.
Hi, Ali.
Oh, we already have questions. This is great. Oh, we have hello everyone. Okay.
Yeah, no, we just have so far hellos in the question window.
Hello, Vanessa. Hello, Maha. Thank you for joining. Oh, nice turnout.
All right, great. So 12:32 our time. So I guess we should start.
Yes.
So good morning and good afternoon, everyone. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, I would like to present our speaker today. He's a personal and professional coach, an entrepreneur, an educator, and a great guy overall, Mr. Robert Wise. And today we will be talking about a very vital topic, I think, for all of us, time management. How do we manage our workday and how do we manage our time in principle? And for those of you who see this little glittery thing on my head, I just want to say that I'm starting to implement Robert's tips that he shared with us yesterday. So this is my do not disturb homemade tiara, which signaled to my people in the house that I'm too busy talking to the king now. So thank you, Robert.
Thanks.
So the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be in the background if you need me.
Yes, thank you so much, Ina.
Thank you.
So, thank you everyone for attending. This is the 4th webinar. It's been a pleasure doing a series of ways to help people during this time. So this is actually a very important topic. It's one of the most important topics I see in the world of business, personal and professional. It is, how do I effectively manage my workday? How do I manage my time? So today we're going to go through some strategies on how to do that effectively and efficiently. So before we start the presentation, Ina had a good idea. she suggested maybe we do a little meditation or a little breathing exercise before we start, which I think is a great idea to get people grounded and ready to take in these strategies. So I'm going to ask you all to please get comfortable. We're going to do a very short meditation. It is just to help you center yourself. So, and I think it was the first webinar, I actually did a short meditation to help everybody who was struggling with anxiety and stress to ground themselves. It's going to be a similar meditation, but I'm going to add a tool to this meditation to help you with grounding. So I'm going to ask you all to get comfortable. It's going to be a very short period of time. We'll do this with your shoulders back, your chest lifted. And I'm going to guide you through the meditation. So just keep your eyes closed, please. And there's no reason to speak or say anything. I will guide you. And all you need to do is just listen to me and follow my lead. So with your eyes closed in a comfortable position, I will ask you to take a breath in. So take a breath in and a breath out. So you take a breath in and a breath out. Very nice. And with your eyes closed, I would like you to imagine a place where you feel very comfortable, very safe. There's no anxiety, there's no stress, there's no pressure. It's just a safe place. I would like you to imagine this safe place. So with your eyes closed, imagine a safe place. And remembering to take a breath in and a breath out. Perfect. So in your safe place, I would like you to look for 5 things that you see. What are 5 things that you see in your safe place? Look around you. What do you see? 5 things that you see. Making sure to breathe throughout the meditation. Five things you see. With your eyes closed, what are 4 things that you can feel, that you can touch in your safe place? So with your eyes closed, what are 4 things that you can feel? What do you touch in your safe place? Remembering to breathe. With your eyes closed, what are 3 things that you hear in your safe place? So listen for 3 sounds that you hear in your safe place. And remembering to breathe. Nice. And with your eyes closed, what are 2 things that you smell in your safe place? What do you smell? Taking a breath in and a breath out. What do you smell? Nice. And lastly, you're in your safe place with your eyes closed. What do you taste? What is one thing you taste in your safe place? Taking a breath in and a breath out. So take a moment to be aware of your state of mind and how you feel, the sense of calm, the sense of peace. Take a moment, and we will take 3 breaths, and then we will open our eyes and come back to this safe space. So breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. Nice. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and we will start the presentation on how to effectively manage your workday. And this is something that I would like to tell you is this 5-minute meditation is something that would be amazing to implement in your workday. I am a very big believer in taking time to ground yourself every day because I think it's really important that we reconnect with ourselves. So maybe add something similar or this type of meditation to your daily routine. It will help you ground yourself. So what we did here during this meditation was we actually were using our senses to ground ourselves while in a meditative state. So I hope that was helpful. And we have a question. I work and study at home, one SCS course after work. I feel I don't have time to study. It's much easier at McGill Library or Macy's or Starbucks after work to concentrate with energy. I also feel no time for walks even. And now there is more work because pandemic response at work. An employee knows I can work from home after work time. And I did a bit, but it was not in our work culture. It may be changing. Well, I hope this workshop is going to help you find time to efficiently work from home and be able to get things done and make time for personal care as well. So we're going to go through this presentation, and hopefully some of these tools will help you with working and studying at home, because I actually think that a lot of these things that you're mentioning are going to be addressed in this workshop. So it's going to be very helpful. Okay, so we're going to start. Okay, perfect. So we'll start with the basics of what is time management. So time management is the art of arranging, organizing, scheduling, and budgeting one's time for the purpose of generating more effective work and productivity. That is known as time management. So time management involves exercising conscious control over the amount of time spent on specific activities with a focus to increase effectiveness, efficiency, or productivity. Time management may be aided by a range of skills, tools, and techniques used to manage time when accomplishing specific tasks, projects, and goals. So look at the questions given below and try answering them with a yes or a no. Do you feel the need to be more organized and or more productive? Do you spend your day feeling very busy and yet wondering why you haven't accomplished much? Do you wish you had a more than a 24-day to complete all your tasks? Do you feel stressed by an even busier schedule with no time for yourself? Do you feel you rarely achieve your 100% production capability. I see that we have a question. Taste. Oh, on a quick note, Maha, for the meditation, you could taste whatever you want to imagine tasting. It could be a pina colada, it could be a cappuccino. What would you be tasting in your safe place? It could be a warm cup of hot chocolate. So these are the meditations to connect you with your senses in the most pleasurable way possible. So it doesn't have to be something you're actually tasting. It could be something that you would be imagining tasting in that safe place in that moment. So if you answered yes to any of the earlier questions, and the solution to your dilemma lies in time management. Time management is an effective tool that anyone and everyone can use to pack in more into their 24-hour day and achieve more in the same time than they achieved before. So here's the importance of time management. It's to be efficient. It's to plan efficiently. It's to schedule efficiently. It's to prioritize tasks. It's to be self-disciplined, be relaxed and less stressed, and have time for ourselves. So let's discuss planning. How can you judge or gauge the balance between important versus urgent tasks? This is a big topic. People are not aware of really where should they put their attention, what needs priority. How do you differentiate between something that is important and something that is urgent? So you need to decide the impact of doing a task and the effect of not doing a task. One of the best ways to decide between urgent versus important tasks and to balance between them is to use the Eisenhower's urgent and important principle. I'm going to go through the steps with you on how to use this principle, and I'm going to tell you it's going to be extremely helpful in really trying to understand what is urgent versus important, which will help you manage your time much more effectively. So great time management means being effective as well as efficient. We must spend our time on things that are important and not just on ones that are urgent. To do this and to minimize the stress of having to do too many tight deadlines, we need to understand this distinction. Important activities have an outcome that leads to us achieving our goals, whether these are professional or personal. Urgent activities demand immediate attention and are usually associated with achieving someone else's goals. They are often the ones we concentrate on, and they demand our attention because the consequences of not dealing with them are immediate. So I have an exercise for you. I hope you all have a paper and a pen or something to write with. To use this principle, I'm going to ask you to list all the activities and projects that you feel you have to do. Try to include everything that takes up your time at work, however unimportant. So I'm going to ask you maybe to write a couple of things down. So just take a note, please, and maybe write 2 or 3 things down because we don't have that much time of projects that you feel you have to do. So I'll give you a moment to write that down. So take a moment to write down some of your activities and projects that you feel you have to do. And this will be an interesting exercise to really look at what you are putting down to do and being able to differentiate between urgent and important. Okay, so important and urgent. There are 2 distinct types of urgent and important activities. Ones that you could not have foreseen and others that you've left until the last minute. You can eliminate last minute activities by planning ahead and avoiding procrastination. I will talk about how to avoid procrastination a little bit later. If you have a lot of urgent and important activities, identify which of these you could have foreseen and think about how you could have scheduled similar activities ahead of time so that they don't become urgent. Number 2, important but not urgent. These are the activities that help you achieve your personal and professional goals, and complete important work. Make sure that you have plenty of time to do these things properly so that they do not become urgent. Also, remember to leave enough time in your schedule to deal with unforeseen problems. This will maximize your chances of keeping on track and help you avoid the stress of work becoming more urgent than necessary. We want to make sure that important tasks don't become urgent. Number 3, not important but urgent. Urgent but not important tasks are things that prevent you from achieving your goals. Ask yourself whether you can reschedule or delegate them. A common source of such activities is other people. Sometimes it's appropriate to say no to people politely or to encourage them to solve the problem themselves. So sometimes we take on other responsibilities, we take on other projects. It's really important to practice having good boundaries. Sometimes you do need to say no to things. So you need to be mindful about what you're saying yes to when you really mean no to them. Number 4, not important and not urgent. These activities are just a distraction. Avoid them if possible. You can simply ignore or cancel many of them. However, some may be activities that other people want you to do, even though they don't contribute to your own desired outcome. Again, say no politely if you can and explain why you cannot do it. This is a common situation I see with people. Some people that people go to them as, oh, I need your help. Can you please just help me with this? Can you, you're so much better at this than me. It'll take you so much less time than I would if I was to do it. You really need to be able to set that boundary and be able to say no. There is nothing wrong with being able to say no to something if you can't do it. It depends on how you say it. It depends on the importance of the project, and it depends on who is asking you. But being able to say no to something because you're not able to do it is not a bad thing. What happens is when we say yes to things we're not able to do is when we start to create that anxiety, that stress, we start to push things, we start to waste time, we start to not manage our own time, and that we have to be mindful of doing. You need to be very clear about your objectives and boundaries. Boundaries are extremely important. And the problem when we play with our boundaries and we say yes to things that we mean no to, people will come back to you and ask you for more and more and more. So you need to make sure that you have a boundary, and a boundary could even be like, right now I'm working on this project. I could, look at this a little bit later. Maybe I could look at this at another time, but right now I need to focus on this project that I'm working on now. And basically you're setting a boundary that right now, this is my priority. I need to be working on this. So you need to be able to practice setting boundaries, because if you don't practice boundaries, the people might keep coming to you and wasting your time. So here are some key points. Eisenhower's urgent important principles help you quickly identify the activities that you need to focus on and the ones that you don't. When you use this tool to prioritize your time, you can deal with truly urgent issues at the same time as you work towards important longer-term goals. To use the tool, list all your tasks and activities and put each into one of the following categories. So if you have your list that you wrote down, put them into the categories as followed. Important and urgent. Important but not urgent. Not important but urgent. Not important and not urgent. Then schedule tasks and activities based on their importance and urgencies. You may be surprised that maybe you're putting things that are not that important in your top priority list, or focusing on things that are maybe not that urgent, and instead of focusing on things that are more urgent, you're wasting time on things that maybe don't need as much time as you're giving it. I see that we have a question. How to decide to delegate? Am I bothering, stressing a colleague who may be experiencing high workload as well? Do I need to explain to them and follow up? Answer questions take time too. How to decide to delegate? Am I bothering, stressing a colleague? Do I need to explain to them? I think this is thank you for this question. I think this is a communication question. I think we need to be very communicative. I had this talk yesterday about when we were talking about working at home with kids, is we really need to be very explicit in our communication. I think that there is nothing wrong with asking for help, asking a colleague if they are able to help you. We need to be very explicit in the way we speak. We can't make assumptions, we can't judge, we can't assume they're too busy. We need to ask, we need to be able to ask, collaborate, not tell someone, you know, do this, but ask, is this possible? Can you do this? Is there a way you can do this? If you're not able to do this, maybe tell the person, I can't do this now. Is this something that maybe I can do later? I think talking, not avoiding, being very clear will help people have better communication, which will help people be able to work better together. This is a communication situation. In my opinion, this is a communication question that needs to be addressed by verbally expressing your concerns and asking questions so you know where the person stands and where you stand. So let's use effective communication. Let's not assume things. Let's not judge. Let's ask. Let's collaborate. Let's work together. Perfect. Thank you for your questions. Okay. So here are 7 good habits. Be proactive, no blaming. Begin with the end in mind. Work towards your most meaningful goal. Put first things first. What's important versus urgent. Think win-win. Going back to the question that I was asked before, this is a great point for that question. Think win-win, mutually beneficial. How can I help you? How can you help me? How can we work together? Maybe you're stronger at this, maybe I'm stronger at that. Together we can get more done if we take on tasks that are more beneficial for our skill set. So that's win-win. That's a win-win. If you keep loading things on people or people keep taking things on, that's a win-lose. We want win-win. Seek first to be understanding, then to be understood. Synergize. Value differences. Sharpen the saw. Self-renewal. Which means that's actually what that means, sharpen the saw, is exactly what I did at the beginning of this presentation. That's you taking care of yourself, making sure that you're in a healthy state of mind. Now, I can't do a time management presentation without addressing goal setting. I mean, goal setting is key. Effective goal setting, excuse me, is key to success. So the process of identifying something that you want to accomplish and establishing measurable goals and timeframes. When you decide on a financial change to save money and then set a certain amount to save each month, this is an example of goal setting. Now, we don't have much time to go through all this, but in another presentation I've done, I would ask people to write down their goal. What is your goal? And you'll be surprised that our goals are not really goals. They're actually more wishes, and they sound more like a wish. Like, oh, my goal is to write a book. Well, that's not a goal. That sounds like a wish. A goal is specific. It has meat to it. It has something that is tangible. So you want your goals to be specific. You want them to be clear. You want to be able to measure a goal. The goal needs to be attainable. My goal is I want to win the lottery. That's my goal. Or I want to buy a mansion in Beverly Hills. So you want to make sure that your goal is attainable, that it's relevant, and that it's time bound. So goals need to be time bound. So basically what I would suggest anybody who sets a goal to do is to close loop the goal. What does that mean? It means that when you set your goal, make sure that your goal is working towards progress. The way to do that is to close loop it. I do something called a 6-week closed looping system. What that means is I look each week to see if I'm going to be closer to my goal, and by 6 weeks, I will know if I'm on track, if my goal is going to be completed or not. That's for more of a long-term goal. But even for short-term goals, I would close loop the goal and make sure that the goal is being followed through by putting a timeline. Because maybe you have a goal, but you're not looking to see if you're actually making progress on the goal. So the way to make sure you're making progress is to check in on the goal and to make sure that you follow through by saying, okay, where am I with this goal right now? So I said by Friday, I would like this report done. And today, it's Monday, I haven't even started. So what would I need to do to finish this project by Friday? And make the goal specific. How important is this goal that I need it to be finished by Friday? Well, it's a 10. It's a 10. It needs to be done by Friday because the person is going to be presenting this on Friday. So it's a 10 that it's done by Friday. So then you need to say, okay, well, what do I need to do? So by Friday, it's completed. Maybe I need to set down 2 hours. Maybe I need to set down an hour and a half. So you need to have a plan. So make sure your goal is specific, make sure it's measurable, make sure it's attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Extremely important. I have 2 kids at home, 12 years old, 4 years old, and my partner who has time management challenges. I feel overwhelmed and sometimes reactive because of a lack of collaboration. I know that I need to set new boundaries, but not sure what is the best in my circumstances. Anna, that's a great question. And I have good news for you. I think I mentioned this yesterday. People are shapeable, which means that your partner can change. Just make sure that you are instilling boundaries and following through with them, because people are shapeable when you reinforce negative behavior and good behavior. So maybe your partner is poor with time management because maybe you take on too much and they feel they could not have to do as much. So we have to be mindful of what's going on, what's happening here. Why is this person not doing well with their time management? Are you maybe over-functioning? Are they maybe under-functioning? And there needs to be a communicative dialogue between the two of you, which requires boundaries. I need this time. Can you do this during that time? So it's very, very important that you set boundaries, that you set a schedule, and that you work with the person. Don't resent them. Don't feel overwhelmed, because that's not going to change the situation. Feeling overwhelmed is a feeling of stress, anxiety, fear. You don't need to feel those. You need to find a solution, because what we do is we feel overwhelmed, we feel stressed, we feel angry, we feel bitter, but it doesn't change the outcome. So as a coach, I'm very solution focused, and I would suggest that you speak with your partner and come up with a proactive plan that requires a schedule, boundaries, what you feel comfortable with, what you would like from them, and try to work together. Rather than feel bad about it, let's find a plan for it, because I absolutely could understand how this could feel overwhelming. So let's find a solution. Okay, Anna? I know that it might be difficult to do at first, but like I said before, people are shapeable, which means they can change. We can actually shape people by instilling boundaries and consequences. So it's not too late. It's okay. Try it, please. Try to do that. Perfect. Oh. Just want to make sure I'm on my, okay. Okay, perfect. So this is a common question that I get from people. How do I deal with overwhelming amount of emails? This is like the #1 question that I get from my clients that are in business. I get 1 million emails a day. How do I deal with all these emails? They take up all my time. I can't get enough done because I'm getting all these emails coming in. No problem. I have your 4D model for you, which I believe will be very beneficial. So according to the 4D model, every time an email arrives in your inbox, you can do one of the following. You can, #1, delete it. #2, you can do it. #3, you can delegate it. Or #4, you can defer it. So I'll go into more detail about what each one means. So dealing with an email, deleting it. Let's talk about an email that you might want to delete. Practically speaking, 50% of emails you receive can be deleted the moment you see them. The reason we don't delete emails as soon as we see them is fear. We are afraid we might need that information later, even though most likely we won't, and we will never look at it again. Ask yourself, what percentage of emails you keep actually become useful ever? The next thing you can, with dealing with an email, is you can do it. If a task arrives in your inbox and it is both important and can only be done by you, it's worth doing it right away. However, if you feel that working on the task will interrupt what you're doing, it's up to you. The rule of thumb should be, If you can deal with it in less than 2 minutes, do it right away. Any more, and it enters your to-do list. You can delegate your email. If you find it impractical to delete the email or work on it immediately, try and see if the task can be delegated to another person in your team. It would also free up more time for you to focus on the core area of your work. It's understandable that a lot of people are hesitant to delegate work to others, thinking it will affect the quality of the final output. There's an interesting rule for delegation. It's the 70% rule. If the person you want to assign the job is able to do it at least 70% as well as you can, go ahead and delegate it. And we have a question. How can you set boundaries with someone who is hierarchically higher than you, whether it is your boss or the boss of the boss or a more senior colleague from a different department that you don't report directly to? So, you know, I actually struggled with this one personally. I had somebody who was on a much higher level than myself, and it was challenging to set a boundary, but it really depends on the boundary that you're setting. So this person, it really depends, would ask me to do things. I'm serious, at 2 in the morning, they would write me emails, and I had to set a boundary that I'm not going to be answering my phone after 6 o'clock p.m. So it really depends on what they're asking for and if they're in their right to be asking these type of things of you. It depends on where it goes. Are they asking you to check emails on your own time? Are they asking you to have your phone on all the time? Are they asking you to use your phone to answer emails? So it really does depend on what is going on. For you to establish a boundary with someone in the hierarchy position, it really does depend on, are they asking you to do something that is not within your spectrum of the workday, or that would be something that would be unrealistic of them to ask of you. It really does depend. I would need more specifics on the type of boundary that you would need to set based on what they're asking. How to make sure that nobody is taking too much when everyone has already too much on their plate. Sometimes delegating means putting too much on the other person's plate. Yes, Maha, I completely understand, and I understand that delegating could absolutely overwhelm a person, and this is why I'm going to be very adamant actually on the communication aspect. There's a difference between delegating to somebody and there's a difference between dumping it on them. So I do want to be very clear. I think when I talk about delegating, I also want to talk about doing this in a very respectful, collaborative way by asking the person. I think it's a really respectful way of delegating would this be possible for you to do? Do you have the time for this? If they say, no, I'm really overwhelmed, then I would, accept the fact, and I would allow the person to be able to say no to something that they're not able to take on. But you could always ask questions like, is it possible you could do this? And by doing this, I can maybe do that for you. It all comes back to, how are you approaching the person? How are you collaborating with the person? Are you telling them to do it, or are you asking them to do it? It really does come with the approach. And I'm a very big believer in asking, being collaborative, and like I said before, a win-win. I think people want to feel valued, respected, heard, understood, and cared about. And it all depends on how we approach the situation. You could delegate to somebody who maybe can take on the project, but they don't want to because of the way you're asking them, or you can delegate to someone who really cannot take on the project because they're extremely overwhelmed. The only way you can know is the way to ask, to collaborate, to be open. And remember, we're a team. Like I think that we need to practice and be aware that we're a team. And let's try to be a team, and let's work together like a team, and try to be respectful to your team members and your teammates, and be mindful that they're also busy. And if you're asking them something, I would absolutely show them gratitude and appreciation, because that will make people even more open to taking on things that you're asking them to do. And the next thing is to defer it. When you cannot delete it or finish it in 2 minutes or delegate it, essentially it means the email requires you to perform a certain action. The action would take more than 2 minutes. You're the only person who can do it. These are tasks that these are tasks that will require you to work with focused attention. Set a reminder for yourself to revisit the task after you're done processing emails or at a later time. Deferring a non-urgent task takes away the pressure of doing it right away and lets you target your important tasks first. Interesting. When you start following the 4D model properly, you'll realize that only 10% of emails would fall into this category, which is interesting. I actually wanted to do a poll. I meant to do it at the beginning of this presentation, but I will do it now. Polls. So I'm actually going to poll, just curious your answers to this. So did I? Oh, they're, okay, perfect. Do you feel the need to be more organized and more productive? Okay, so, okay, people are still voting. It seems that people, I'll share the results. It looks like people need to be more organized and productive. I'm going to tell you that a lot of reasons why we're not productive is because we are not clear with our priorities. We are not clear with our goals. We're not focused enough on the tasks that we need to be working on, the tasks that take us the most important. So I think that what will be very beneficial is to be really clear. And something I really would like you all to get out of this presentation is to be very clear on your priorities, what you're working on, what you're dealing with, how specific your goals are. When we're not specific, we procrastinate. So what I'm seeing here, I'll just share the results. But what I'm seeing is majority of everybody wants to be more productive. So I really think that by being more clear and more aware, you will be more productive. Make sure that your goals are specific. Make sure that the projects you're working on are very clear. Make sure that you are prioritizing what is important, what's not important. This will also help you not to feel so overwhelmed. I know that I get extremely overwhelmed when I feel I have this to do, that to do, this to do. I gotta get that done. I gotta get this done. So creating a list is actually something that has helped me tremendously. And the type of list that I create is exactly the list that I am sharing with you today. I prioritize, I list it out. Visually, I like to see what needs to be done, and then I like to check mark it after it's done. So I like to prioritize because some things just are not as urgent as others, and we tend to put them all into one big bubble of things we need to get done. And then we start to feel very overwhelmed, stressed. And then what ends up happening is we end up not doing a lot of things, which is a response to feeling overwhelmed, actually. Or The opposite, maybe doing too much at one time, which is another response to feeling overwhelmed. Perfect. When do you defer a task? What do you suggest to do with an email so you don't forget? Would you create a defer folder? Use the taskbar. Any suggestions are welcome. So I actually, I'll give you what I do. I actually do create for myself. I'll tell you what I do for myself. I create a template for myself where I put everything on a spreadsheet. I create a list. So the defer email would go onto my my spreadsheet of tasks that I need to do. I've done that before where I created a defer mailbox in my email, but I would tend to not look at it or just drag it in there and not really go to it. So I'm a very visual person, so what works for me is taking the defer item and putting it onto a list. I'm also a really big list person. I happen to like lists. I'm very visual, and what I would do is I would put my list in red for the things that are urgent. I put them into yellow when they're not as urgent, and then when they're done, I'll put them into blue. So it means it's done and it's dealt with. So I would make, my suggestion to you would make sure that you put it in a way that you will make sure to go back to it, that you will look at it, and that you will not forget about it. So I would either create a folder or create a spreadsheet with tasks to do. And I actually think lists are very helpful. I think lists also help people see things clearly and also give them the ability to say, okay, done, perfect. Okay, got that done, great. Also get to see your progress and what's flagging and what's been accomplished. So it's visually, in my opinion, very helpful to create a list. I call it a to-do list, a priority list, which is very important, in my opinion. So dealing with emails, let's see which D applies to each email. So answering a cold call. You see a cold email from an unknown author who wants to contribute a guest post to your blog. This is your delete. Schedule a meeting with James. You'd rather focus on the important tasks first and then go to figure out which day and time makes sense to catch up with James. This is your defer task. The SEO for a landing page is broken. You'd want to send this to the digital marketing guy on your team or at the agency. This is your delegate task. This is something that you cannot do. Update marketing numbers. This is a pressing task and can be done only by you. Updating in Excel takes a minute. This is your do task. So these are some of the recommended readings that I highly suggest: The 1 Minute Manager, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and of course, the book that I wrote, How to Sell the Wise Way, where it's not just a sales book, it's actually a book on personal development where I talk about goal setting and how to successfully achieve goals. And I also talk about the 6-week closed looping goal system. Oh, you know what? I have another. Oh, you know what? It's okay. I know that we're running out of time, so it's okay. I will just give you one more poll. So I would love to know what your key takeaways are from today's presentation. Is it effective goal setting, dealing with emails, Eisenhower's urgent important principles? I'm just curious what you'll take away. I know that Ina took away wearing a tiara from yesterday's presentation, which is great. So I'm curious what you will all take away from today's presentation on time management. I have a question. Oh, thank you, my pleasure. So we're almost at 100%. Okay, I'm happy to see. So it seems like Eisenhower's urgent, important principles took the lead, which is something that I use on a daily. I use the Eisenhower urgent, important principle on a daily matter, and it has really helped me. I've also used the 4D model for emails because I was somebody that would not delete emails. I would forget about them. So that's also, I encourage you to use that model. It will absolutely help you. And I always tell people, go to your inbox and start cleaning those emails out. I have one point, I'm not joking, I think I had about 6,000, I'm not even joking, about 6,000 emails I had to go through. That's how many emails because I wouldn't delete them. They weren't important emails, they're just emails I wouldn't delete. Okay, so Eisenhower's urgent, important principles took the lead. Perfect. It's a great principle. I'm happy that you all seem to have gotten something out of that. I'm just getting to a question. Thanks for the perfect. So I want to thank you all for attending this webinar on managing your time. All my contact information is here, and I know there's going to be more webinars coming up, and exciting to be back for another big webinar that we're going to be doing in May.
Thank you very much, Robert. And if you don't mind moving to the next slide so that people could see what we have there.
Sure.
So if you would like to take a look at other webinars that we will be running, there is one tomorrow, and then there are a couple more coming up in May and June. And for those of you who would like to learn more about time management, because I feel that 45 minutes wasn't even enough to cover everything. I think we'll talk about this for days. Robert will be delivering his 2-day time management workshop that we've redesigned for remote delivery now. And I believe this is scheduled on May 19, May 20, May 21st and 22nd. So it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It is 3-hour chunks from, I believe, I don't remember if it's 9 to 12, Robert, or is it afternoon?
I don't remember. Whatever time it is, it's going to be very good.
Right.
I don't know whatever time. I don't know what time it is, but we're going to go in. We're going to go into great detail. There's a lot of there's so much good stuff that I'm excited to go through, and we're gonna really go into a lot of detail, and we're gonna show you how to implement a lot of these things and recognize a lot of these things. And there's a lot of more tools. Like, it was hard just to limit it to this. I'll be honest with you. There's a lot, and I'm excited to go through all that stuff with all of you.
And I see Nadia is reminding us it's from 9 to 12, so it's 3 hours in the morning on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from starting May 19. So for those of you who would like to learn more, you're more than welcome to join us. You can find this information on the school's website under the workshop schedule. So thank you very much for joining us today. And thank you, Robert, for sharing your insights and tips. And I'm sure Eisenhower would be proud.
Thank you. I hope so.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I believe we had a couple of questions that we did not answer. And we will ask Robert to answer the questions by email. So this was Sylvie. Thank you, Sylvie.